This is episode number 23, and I say it every week. Time flies, and we're here. I'm joined with Phil Vichinanza. Phil, how are you doing on this fine evening?
How are we all doing this fine evening?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Well, let's talk about our guest, and I'll let you introduce him.
Well, of course, we're very honored to have a lot of awesome guests be a part of our show so far. A lot of different stories. And this is someone that I've known for many years, just growing up being a bunch of dorks, super fans, as they would say, in the stands, trying to get an opportunity. He's made the most out of every opportunity. He is the definition of a rising star in monster trucks. Our guest tonight, the star from the Monster Truck Wars, the driver of El Oso Loco, Alex Bardin.
Alex, welcome to the show, and I gotta say, I love that background.
Hey, man, thank you. We try around here. Hey, I love the video too, guys. Man, it makes me feel like it gets me amped up. Felt like I'm about to come out of Thunder Alley or something. That's awesome. I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, thank you for being on board. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Honor having you, and we're going to start it off a little bit different tonight. And the question I'm going to ask you is, what sparked your interest in monster trucks?
Okay, so I went to my first show when I was 4 years old, but I'll go before that. So I was always interested in trucks, just trucks in general. As a kid, growing up, semi trucks, construction trucks, anything that had four wheels and a steering wheel. That was all. I was all about that. I wasn't like other kids. I wasn't really into playing sports. I had a Power Wheels dump truck that I got for Christmas when I was 2 years old, and all throughout school, the first thing I would do, when I didn't outgrow the Power Wheels, is I would come home from school and I'd plug that thing in. I was really impatient, so it was like plugged in for an hour, and I'd be able to drive my dump truck every day after school for about 20 minutes. So really, my love for monster trucks started with just a passion for trucks in general. And I discovered monster trucks from liking mud trucks first. And I was introduced to mud trucks one weekend when I spent the night at one of my friend's house. He had a neighbor down the street that actually owned a professional mud racing truck. And one weekend he had the garage door open, so we walked down the street and we were able to check it out. And, me liking trucks, I've never seen anything like this. I was probably 4 years old at the time. And never seen anything like this. It was a truck, but it was better than a truck, if that makes sense. It had big mud cleats, big motor. He fired it up for us. It was super loud. And, I was really compelled and intrigued by it. And I never really, YouTube wasn't a thing. So then again, I was 4 years old. So even if it was a thing, I didn't really know what the trucks did. I just knew they were cool. And I remember playing with my Hot Wheels one night in the living room. And a commercial comes on TV, and my parents were watching TV, like America's Funniest Home Videos or something like that, before it sucked. And a commercial came on for a VHS set called Mud and Monster Madness, and it was a highlights of the Penda Mud and Monster series. And what sparked my interest in the commercial was the mud trucks. So I asked for that for Christmas. That was right around Christmas time, and I was probably 4 years old at the time. And as soon as I opened that on Christmas, I put it in the VHS player, and I would watch the mud truck portion over and over and over again. I'd do that for part one and then for part two as well. And one day I went and did something, and I came back, and the monster truck portion of that tape was on. I had no idea what monster trucks were. And that was my first time seeing monster trucks. And I will remember it as clear as day. It was the race between Barefoot and Bigfoot, where they actually collide at the end of the track. Super close race. That was what I walked back in on. And at the same time, Hot Wheels started to actually sell their toys in the store. So I would go to the store, And instead of, playing with Hot Wheel cars, like acting like they're mud trucks, I actually had a monster truck now that Hot Wheels made. So I would actually set tracks up in the living room and do little shows with the toy trucks for my parents. And that really kind of introduced me into monster trucks. And, from then on, my parents surprised me and took me to, my first shows. And, I don't know if that was a blessing or if they didn't really know what they were getting into at the time, so to speak. But, so it was really that VHS tape, Mud and Monster Madness, that sparked my interest for monster trucks. And that interest, 22 years ago has never gone away, really.
So your first monster truck event, where was it and how old were you?
So my first monster truck show was in 2000, and it was in College Station Reed Arena. And that was actually the only time Monster Jam or monster trucks were ever at that building. And I don't remember I remember the lineup. I don't remember exactly what happened. It was Wild Thing, Tony Farrell, Bustin' Loose, Executioner, Blown Thunder, and Temporary Insane. And I don't remember much. I got a little toy Gravedigger stuffed animal, so to speak, from that show. I have some pictures from the show. But that was my first show, and that was in 2000. But the show that really, I think, inspired me, or that I knew I wanted to drive a monster truck, was in the Houston Astrodome, and that was back in 2001. And I will never forget that, the moment of my life that I knew I wanted to drive a monster truck. It was actually during the freestyle competition of that show, and I heard Bad to the Bone come on for the first time, and I heard 50,000 people stop and cheer for one man, one truck, Dennis Anderson, a Gravedigger. And I knew that, even though he didn't win that night, I knew I wanted to be that guy. And it's like time froze, and even to this day, when I'm at a Monster Jam show, as goofy as this sounds, and I hear Bad to the Bone come on, I still get goosebumps. To this day, and I think it's gonna be like that until, honestly, the day I die.
Who are some of the early people that you were fans of, or you inspired to be like when you were a kid?
So definitely Tom Mentz and Dennis Anderson. That show in the Astrodome, that was my first time seeing both of them. And it's crazy to think that, seeing them, and then, now they kind of remember me. They started to remember me growing up as a kid. They'd see me at all the Houston shows, and Tom started to be like, oh, look, here's the Alex kid coming through the line again. And, so definitely Tom and Dennis. And I liked them because they had a different driving style. They didn't want to win, so to speak. They wanted to win, but they were out there for the fans. And, that's kind of what Dennis preached. He practiced what he preached. He was win, lose, or draw. If the fans went home happy, then he went home happy. And so I think Dennis and Tom inspired me the most. And just when the crowd knew that they were coming out, and, when head-to-head racing between the two, you knew you were going to see a show when those two people were there. So it inspired me. Whenever you see me at a show, I want the people to think of me not as the level of Dennis and Tom, because they're out of the screen and I'm down here still, but I just want to put on a show for them just like them. And I don't care if I win, as long as the fans go home happy, then I can go home happy. But it was definitely Dennis and Tom that inspired me the most to drive a monster truck.
So when you realized you wanted to get involved in the industry, what were some of the steps you took to get involved? And that could be, doing club work, crewing for someone.
So I think the first time I got my foot in the door was I was doing club work at a Monster Jam show. And it was a good thing. I knew a couple of the techs that were working at the show, Alex Pecorelli. And I used his name to get in. I said that I was here as Alex Pecorelli. I'm here to do track crew. And I was going to either use his name or David Smith. And David Smith doesn't know me, and he didn't know me at the time. So it's a good thing I used Alex, the guy that knows me, because they actually radioed Alex to see if they knew me. And that would have been devastating. Obviously they called David Smith, and, who's this Alex Bardin guy? I don't know him. So Alex Pecorelli actually got me in to do my first club help, and that was Houston in 2013. I started to do a bunch of club shows all throughout 2013, all the way up to 2017. And I met a lot of really awesome people, but that's how I honestly learned got my foot on the door with Monster Jam, met a lot of cool people, made a lot of really good friends. And so it started with Club Help, and then I ran into Harper back in 2012 at the debut show of his Outlaw truck. And after that, it was, I did the Club Help at the shows that Harper wasn't at. But when Harper was in Houston, I would crew with Harper in the Outlaw truck.
So how many times did you do Club Help or track crew for Monster Jam?
Oh gosh. A lot, a lot. And it got to the point where I met some friends online who later went on to work with Monster Jam as just countless numbers of other positions within the company. And we would travel and do shows as Club Help. We went to Nashville, Tennessee in 2017 and East Rutherford in 2017. We all flew in to Detroit, rented a car, and then road tripped to East Rutherford and then road tripped down to Nashville, where we all went back home and parted ways from there. But gosh, I think, Houston used to do the 3 shows a year on the separate weekends. So, man, I would say I probably did Club Help 17, 18 times. I mean, at least enough to, get noticed by a lot of the higher ups within Monster Jam. And I was actually offered a job 4 years in a row to be a tech official for Monster Jam. And I was in college at the time, and it just wouldn't fit with my my schedule. And I was with Harper as well. And I sat down, I had to talk with Harper, and I basically asked him, because the tech official job, it was intriguing, to say that I would be able to work with Monster Jam, and that would be really cool. So I talked to Harper, and I basically flat out told him, and I've already been with him at that point for 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. And I asked him, would there ever be an opportunity for me to drive? And he said, down the road, yes, that's the goal, that's the plan for you. And so I turned down the Monster Jam gig, and I just. I stuck with the team here, and it was a good thing I did. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I had a lot of fun doing Club Help as well. But I would say at least 17 to 20 shows is what I Club Help.
And, you had such a group of guys that seemed like everywhere you went somewhere. Here's one of your faithful pictures from 2016. And for everybody that's listening on audio, you see future drivers Armando Castro and Elvis Linez in there. You have Evan Pasoko, Devin Winfield. You got Glenderson, Jay. There's a whole slew of people, and I know Trevin was probably somewhere too, a whole slew of people that in some capacity work in the industry. And that's got to be an incredible feeling that these super fans that I know for a fact, because I was right there next to you, will get there at 5 hours before the gates open at the World Finals pit party. Just fast forward a couple years later, you guys are driving trucks and producing the events.
Yeah, and that's funny that you bring up the get to the pit party 5 hours before it opens, because I remember one year our goal was to beat you and Bill Gillen to the gate before you guys got there. That was our goal. And I remember we did not go to sleep that night. And we had a friend, his name was Rylan, and he was actually in that picture. And he was so tired from the previous night. We stayed up, all night making signs and stuff for Double Down Thursday for the World Finals. And like I said, our goal was to beat you to be, first person in line. And we got there, and you guys were already there. We got there, it was like 4 a.m., and we were devastated because we stayed up all night. We specifically did not go to sleep so we could be front of the line. And we get there, and you guys I think you actually had like tents set up or something, and you had like a grill out, and you guys did like breakfast, and we had to leave to go get breakfast, and we were like, man, we're not on this level. You guys had this planned out. The day before we were like, you know what, let's try to stay up all night and be, front of the line. And, little did we know you guys had a whole campsite set up out there in Sam Boyd Stadium parking lot. But yeah, it's really funny how things in life kind of come full circle like that. Those guys, Evan Pasoko, Devin Winfield, Elvis, Armando. I knew them years. We went to shows together, and obviously now you got Elvis and Armando. They pilot one of the Oso Loco Monster Jam trucks. Devin and Trevin were tech officials from Monster Jam. Devin actually was on Thunder Alley driving one of the ride trucks. Evan is a competition manager. So it's really funny how we went from watching the shows to even competing and producing the shows. And, it's been just an awesome experience with all those guys and great memories that I'll cherish forever. That's for sure.
Well, dang, Phil, I didn't know you were that crazy. When did you get there?
Listen, the things we would do for attention back then, we learned from Steve Ellsworth, who was the gentleman that always showed up in the Hot Wheels fire suit. If any old-time super fans remember Steve, we took after him. And then you guys had your whole crew, and the Raymonds from up in Canada were out there. It turned into such a party. It originally was like kind of a deal like, I want to be there on TV and be interviewed by Ken Nowitzki and be the first one at Dennis Anderson's line. But then as the years went on, it just became more of like a big family reunion for like 5 hours each morning. And, when it was a 3-day event, you're talking 15 hours before a 5-hour pit party, before a 4-hour event. You're just sitting there hanging out with people that you chat with all the time on the internet, but this is the one time of year everybody's in the same place. And see, that's when I got enjoyment out of it, to see everybody. And, there's a little bit of competition, who gets there first. And I know button heads a little bit, but at the end of the day, we're all there to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, man, we're kind of like, it was the same way with me and my group. That was like the one time a year that we were able to kind of all meet up. So we were there for the entire week in Las Vegas, and Thursday through Saturday would be specifically Monster Jam days. Well, Monday through Wednesday, we'd cruise down the strip. We'd race go-karts. One year we were on the Today Show back in 2016. Rosalie Raymer, I'm really good friends with Rosalie. She invited us out. Funny story, I invited her out. And then I was going to be really smooth and pay for her ticket to do go-kart racing. And then she one-upped me by saying, oh, actually, no, the Today Show is going to be out there. And we would like to have you and your group come out so there's more people on the track. So it was all comp. And instead of being able to race for like 25 laps, we raced for like 3 hours straight until Today Show got enough B-roll footage to do the news story about her. So, yeah, I was trying to be smooth and buy her ticket. But she totally one-upped me and, had the Today Show there. And it was a huge production. And so, we raced go-karts. We went to like the Coca-Cola Museum, and we would have to get like the trays. They have like trays of soda that you can like have different flavors and stuff from around the world. And there were some flavors that were absolutely disgusting. So we would have to see like who could finish those first. And, it's just a great time being able to meet everybody. And then obviously it culminates to the main event that weekend in Sam Boyd Stadium. And like I said, just great times that honestly I'm never going to forget.
We have a lot of great questions in the comments, and make sure leave a comment. Make sure you're sharing this video. We'll get to as much as we can here tonight. I do want to jump to this one question. This one comment from Ricardo. Ricardo says, "I remember Evan even skipped out on the Jack in the Box breakfast."
He did, and that is surprising because there was 2 places that we went. There was a place in and it's still there, I would assume. It's called Coco's, and it's like a family-owned like bakery stuff, and we would go there the last day. But on the way there, we'd stop at Jack in the Box. And that Thursday, we had to take 2 cars. So me, Elvis, Evan, and I think Devin were in one car, and then we have a friend, Jay Lopez. He was in the other car. He was the other driver, drove there from California. Him and Trevin, Rylan, and Glenn were in the other car. And Evan passed up Jack in the Box. And I was like, whoa, like, what's going on? Like, this does not happen. And, he passed up Jack in the Box to try to beat you guys. And we ended up going to Jack in the Box anyways, because when we got there, obviously you guys were already there. So major disappointment. So we still got the Jack in the Box, but Ricardo is right. Evan did pass it up initially, and that kind of shook everybody, so to speak.
Oh, man. You never beat the memories, but you have to do that kind of stuff to stand out, and you did stand out. You said you met Mike Harper at an event many years back, and you just started slowly helping him at the events. Was he somebody that really took you under his wing and you learned a lot from as you were continuing to grow from a super fan to being involved in the industry?
Yeah, every opportunity that I've gotten in the monster truck industry, it comes from that man right there, Michael Harper. I met him back January 7th, 2012 in a Victoria, Texas at the Victoria Community Center. And actually, that was the same exact day that Monster Jam was supposed to be at NRG Stadium with a 24 truck lineup. It was the World Finals in Houston. All three Andersons, Tom. I mean, it was going to be a crazy show. Well, the Texans did just bad enough to get third seed to play the AFC wildcard game at home at NRG Stadium that day. So the show was postponed to the following weekend. And I was super upset about that because, I mean, that was going to be a show for the ages. I was excited for months. As soon as Monster Jam released the lineup, I was like, man, this show is going to be the show of 2012. You know, Dennis Anderson starting his 30th anniversary there, and it was going to be wild. And so I was super bummed out when that show got canceled. And so on the fly, I saw the show in Victoria, Texas. So I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything, so it's only an hour away. I'm going to go to Victoria, Texas. And Outlaw was not initially on that lineup. He was added the week of the show because Shock Therapy and Excalibur couldn't make it. So instead, the promoter got Reptoid and Outlaw to replace the two. And so Outlaw Harper was not supposed to be there. And it's really funny how things in life, you know, that happened for a reason. Yeah, I was super upset that show was canceled in Houston. And it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, so to speak, because if the Texans did not play January 7th, 2012 at NRG Stadium, and I went to that Monster Jam show instead, I would have never met Michael Harper. And the past, 9 going on 10 years that I've been working with this team, I would not be driving El Oso Loco, and I would not be where I'm at today. I would probably honestly have been a tech official for Monster Jam. And so it's funny how, things can be a blessing in disguise. And so at that show, I walked up to Harper, and I was just some random kid. And I asked him how I would get started in the industry, and it's something that I always wanted to do. And he saw something in me at that show. And I don't know if I reminded him a little bit of himself growing up. And, I told him I collected all the Hot Wheels toys and whatnot. And, it's what I wanted to do ever since my first show. And, so at the end, he told me to stick around, and he let me climb up in Outlaw after the show, after everybody left. And I got a picture of him and I and me on top of the Outlaw truck. And I was so excited that he told me I could get inside of his monster truck, and this is going to sound super dumb, but I was shaking because I've never been in a monster truck before, a race monster truck, I should say, that I was shaking. I couldn't even get inside the truck. He had to help me up. I was so nervous and excited. And I'm like, this is the moment that I've wanted, I get to finally see what it looks like to be in one of these things. So he had to help me get in the truck because I could not get in the truck by myself. Now, every single weekend I climb up and drive that same exact truck, into the building, into the trailer after the show. But, he really took me under his wing, and everything, the past 9 years, going on 10 years now, there's been a lot of really good times. There's been some bad times, but at the end of the day, I'm going to forever be grateful to that man, because without Michael Harper, Alex Bardin would not be driving a monster truck. And I can assure you that, that when he took me under his wing, I had no idea how these trucks worked internally. I knew basic information. And since then, last summer, I took this truck behind me apart by myself in 3 days and put it back together over the course of a couple months by myself. And, everything that I've done with this team, I've worked up from the very bottom, kind of like how you mentioned. And it was all sort of a test, I think, to see if this kid is really dedicated. Is this what he really wants to do? I started at the very bottom doing the jobs nobody around the shop wanted to do, steam cleaning tires outside when it's 15 degrees. I didn't want to do it, but I did it because that's just my work ethic. And if I do something, I'm going to give it 100%. And if I'm not going to give it 100%, then I'm not going to do it. And I think in Victoria, Texas, he saw that in me. And it's really funny how things come full circle in life, because since then, we've returned to Victoria, Texas. So I met him there, and I helped him there in the past. Now I'm getting to race with him in that same building. And one day, it hasn't happened yet. One day I'm going to beat him in that building, and I can assure you that.
So I gotta ask, what was that first experience like? You getting to drive a truck? What do you remember from then? That must have been an amazing experience for you, and definitely something you.
Yeah. So the first time I ever drove a monster truck and actually jumped it, it was we made some adjustments to this truck behind me, and we had a couple other drivers come over that day, and I was kind of suspicious as to why so many people were here. We were just out testing some stuff. We made some minor tweaks to the shocks and whatnot. And Harper drove the truck first, so we tired it up, and he went out and he said he was going to take it easy. He launched the thing and did some donuts with it. I guess he really wanted to see what the truck could do. First time we ever drove the truck since we acquired it, and the holes on the wheel were wallowed out. So actually the wheel fell off of the truck. It pulled the lug nuts straight through the wheel. So lost a tire out in the test track behind our shop here. Harper drove it back up to the awning, and we're fixing the hub. And I'm like, well, why are we fixing it? Like, we should just be like, why are we putting the 66-inch tire back on? Like, we're done. We should just throw the load tires on it. And anyways, we fixed it. We put new studs on it and threw the tire back on. And Harper said, okay, go find a fire suit, your turn. And I was like, what? And I had no idea. I've moved the trucks around at shows prior, but never have I really given it gas or, hit a jump or hole shots. And so, yeah, he said, yeah, go find a helmet and fire suit. It's your turn. So the Adam Wilson, the driver of our sheriff truck beside me, he brought his spare helmet and his old fire suit and a pair of race shoes and put it on, and I climbed in the truck and fired it up and brought it out to the test track. And Harper kind of staged me as if I was going to make a straight line pass, a 1-2 hole shot. And he dropped his hand and I went to the floor. He told me as soon as I go to the floor, shift up into second and keep it there. And so he dropped his hand. I pushed my foot down and went up into second. And honestly, it was the greatest feeling ever, just having that instant throttle response. And man, it was like I was sitting in the truck. I was like having so much fun. I was kind of crying, so to speak, because this is what I wanted my entire life. And just on a random Saturday afternoon, I had no idea that 22 years of a dream, that was going to be the day. And, waking up that morning, I had no idea. So it was crazy. I got to hit the jump out back a couple of times, and apparently I did a good enough job because I was not supposed to even be the driver of this truck behind me. Something happened, and at the last minute, I had to drive the first weekend in January. And I guess, like I said, I did a good job because I've been in the truck ever since. Every single weekend, it seems like I get better. I get more competitive, and I'm giving the fans what they want.
So your first time behind the wheel was driving Thunder Chicken, right?
Yes, my first show was driving the Thunder Chicken truck. It was actually the same chassis that's behind me right now. Since that show, we switched over to ZF parts on it, axle housings. It was Clark's, so it was like all the company trucks, so to speak, at that show. And it was Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was very cold, and I was very nervous. It was the first time, driving in front of people, and I remember it was a 2-show on a Saturday. It was a Saturday matinee and a Saturday night. And I remember after the first show, I did really well. And I remember after the first show, I felt like I was burning it up out there, man. Like I was burning it down. I was going fast, and I watched the video, and I was going like not super slow, but nowhere near as fast as I thought I was going. And Harper thought it was funny because it happens to everyone. It's just the size comparison of what you're driving to the building that you're driving it in. And so the Saturday night show rolls around, still nervous, having to come out of a really tight tunnel for intros, and lights are off. And he wanted me to hit the van stack. There was a van stack there for freestyle. It was like a car double van, and then nothing on the backside. He wanted me to hit it for freestyle. He said, just pull up to it, bump your front tires, and back up about 30 feet and just hold it to the wood. And so I put it to the floor, and I jumped the band stack, did a good job. And, man, that first show was I'll never forget that. My parents were there with me, and it was just a really remarkable accomplishment in my life. And even though I didn't perform how I wanted to, it's fine. It's fine. I had fun, and that's all that matters to me.
That's an awesome fan, the driver story. And we're going to look at some comments right now. This one's from our past guest, Terry Woodcock, and he says, turn the air conditioner on. Love that shop with
Absolutely.
the AC.
Hey, I'll tell you what, that AC comes in handy when it's summer and it's 120 degrees with a heat index outside. Terry's been to our shop a lot. He tells us awesome stories, and I always love when Terry can come down here, and we have our own tire. He buys a lot of our tires, and just recently we had to load up like 16 of them in a trailer, and it was I'll tell you what, it was kind of sketchy getting them in there. We had to stack them up on top of each other, roll them up the ramps, but hey, we got 16 tires in there, that's for sure. And the AC's off right now, though, Terry. It's actually a really nice night. It's probably like 60 degrees outside. I have the shop doors open. I had to clean a little bit. I'm trying to get trucks ready. We have a show coming up next weekend in Louisiana, so there was oil and everything all over the floor. Had to run the mop over here, but absolutely, the AC comes in handy, but I kind of like it when it's hot outside, so really the heater comes in handy more for me. I'm not a cold guy at all. It could be like 50 degrees outside, and I'm not having it at all. So that's funny that he would say about that AC, and yes, it is a very nice shop. I'm very thankful to be able to work out of it. And I just realized I picked up this Whataburger cup with the logo facing the camera. That's not product placement, I swear.
Well, this next one might be a slight reference to Phil, and CJ Burris wants to know, will you be the 82nd driver with Barefoot?
So that Barefoot truck is funny story about the Barefoot truck. That's actually the old Outlaw chassis, the original Outlaw chassis, I should say, that Harper first came out with back in 2012. A couple summers ago, he decided to build him a new one, so we held on to that chassis, had it out in a storage container out back, just if we ever needed it. And we were kind of tossing around ideas, and we ended up wanting to put it back together. So we have a bunch of spare parts here in the shop, and over one Christmas break, we put it back together, and that's actually our community truck. And what I mean by that is anybody that has helped us in the past, whether they've crewed or if they've done media, if they want to actually drive one of our trucks, we just put them in Barefoot. So I don't know who the 82nd driver of Barefoot's going to be. Might be me. It might be Harper. I don't know. It seems like it's been out since like July or something like that this year, and it seems like we've had like 12 different drivers already. So it changes every week. But yeah, that's our community truck, and anyone that's crewed with us before or helped us out, if they want to drive a truck, obviously we train them first and we make sure that they can drive the truck before we put them in it. They can drive that truck if they want to. That's kind of the whole reason we put it back together.
Well, you haven't driven Barefoot yet, so not number 82, but you are unofficially the 26th different person to drive Carolina Crusher. And
absolutely.
You've driven a couple different trucks under the Harper camp, also including Mike's flagship Outlaw truck. What's the biggest difference between all the trucks under the Harper camp banner?
So all of our trucks are essentially the same. They're all ZF parts, and the only truck that is really different, I should say, they're all a little bit different in the wheelbase and where the motor placement is and weight difference and whatnot like that. The only different truck that's here really is Outlaw, and that's because it's coilover and there's no sway bar. So really, Loco is just like driving Sheriff, which is just like driving Crusher, which is just like driving Barefoot, and so on. But Outlaw, I tell you what, that is a totally different beast down there. I have no idea how people like Neil Elliott, Tom Mentz, Michael Harper can control these trucks. It's like an extension of their body, because those things, no sway bar, them coilover shocks, it feels like you're crashing the entire time. the first time I drove that truck was actually one of my hometown shows in Beeville, Texas. And I didn't know I was going to drive the truck until like the day before the show. So, I mean, I've driven it a little bit before, you know, in and out of arenas and stuff like that, placing it for the pit party. But the first time I actually had speed behind me was intros for the Saturday afternoon show. And I lead Power Rush intros out of the tunnel, and, you know, I'm driving it just like Thunder Chicken. And so I'm coming out of the turn, and I turn to the left, and I hit the rear steer, and the whole truck rocks. And I think I'm flipping over in intros. I'm like, oh, God. And that thing just feels like you're crashing the entire time. And we've kind of pitched around the idea of moving me over into like a truck with coilovers, and I'd be fine with that, but I definitely want sway bars. That's for sure. That's the biggest difference in these trucks is the trucks that I'm used to driving have sway bars on them. So it helps with the body roll. It doesn't feel like you're about to tip over every single time you touch the steering wheel in one direction. That Outlaw truck, though, is a totally different beast. Both times I've driven it, it just felt like controlled chaos, so to speak. But it's a lot of fun to drive. And, you know, maybe if I had a little bit more practice behind the wheel of one of them, you know, kind of with that setup, I'd obviously get, you know, the hang of it. But I definitely prefer the El Oso Loco setup over the Outlaw setup any day, if I had a choice.
This question here is from Joe Crawley, and he wants to know, what does Harper mean when he uses the term thunder sticking?
Oh, God. So that I can't answer that on the stream on the podcast. But Joe knows what it means. Joe knows what it means. I can't answer that, though, on the podcast. Phil has told me this last night.
Well, yeah, okay. If you have nothing to say, don't say it at all, right?
Yep.
Fair enough. We'll chalk it up for our after hours discussion. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that'd be better. That'd be a little bit more appropriate.
And I have a question for you. Moving on from that, this was mentioned a little earlier in the comments. Do you remember your first rollover, and what was that experience like? What was going on in your mind?
Yeah, so I drive pretty crazy, but since I don't own any of the stuff, I don't foot the bill. I'm just really fortunate that somebody's letting me drive one of their trucks. You know, so I understand, you know, the cost it takes to run one of these. So I've actually only rolled a truck one time, and I'm proud of that. I'm not saying I don't drive hard. I drive pretty crazy, but I drive within the confined limits of it's not my stuff, and I understand that I'm not having to foot the bill for this. So the first time I rolled was this year in Del Rio, Texas, and this year I started to do the moonwalks and the stoppies and whatnot. And I usually do them off a concrete block laid on its side. And I'd roll up to it, and then front tires would go over. I'd give it some gas, and then I would, when the back tires hit, I just give it a little bit of brake. And then it stands up on its nose. I walk it forward a little bit, and yeah, look, there it is. Look at that. That's great. But so there in Del Rio, we actually did not have a concrete block. We had a different jump there. And I've never done it off a jump like that before. So I try it the first time, and I don't give it enough throttle. And needless to say, this was on the backside of the racing lane. So the truck has more momentum when it's going down the jump. So I'm like, well, that first attempt sucked. So I'm going to hook back around and try it again. So I hook back around and I try it again and give it a little bit more throttle this time. And I give it too much brake. And it just ends up, I hate the damage that came from this body-wise, because you would think that I barrel rolled and cartwheeled 3 or 4 times because the body was trashed. But really, it just went down the ramp, and I gave it too much of the brake. I should have just let off a bit, but the front frame rail actually dug into the ground, and as soon as that happened, I was like a half a second too late to get back on the throttle, and it was really embarrassing because it like slowly tipped forward. And it was like a super slow rollover. And like I said, if I was going to tear a body up and make it and have it look as it did after, I mean, I want to crash. As dumb as that sounds, if I'm going to crash, I want to crash if I'm going to tear it up. But no, it happened like really quickly. And the thing that was the most disorienting about it is the track crew did not have the equipment ready to pull me over. So I sat upside down with like the blood rushing to my head for a good minute and a half. And it got to the point where I had to get out of the truck. I was about to black out. The blood was rushing to my head, and it happened really fast. And I mean, like I said, it was a really slow rollover, and I've come close a couple more times, but just from the body damage that the truck had, I mean, you would have thought I was Dennis Anderson out there and I backflip corkscrewed off the backflip jump or something. And I mean, really did something cool, but really it was kind of a fail more than anything else.
So let's talk about that truck behind you, El Oso Loco. We had a couple comments already about the truck. Where did the concept come about that truck and naming the truck and really making it your own identity?
Yeah, so we do a lot of shows with Monster Truck Wars down in South Texas. So the Hispanic population is very heavy down there. And kind of like Monster Jam does with some of their trucks, they want to have somebody that the fans can identify with, a truck out there, so to speak. So we have the police car for the first responders. We have, Paul Broad and Backdraft. He comes out. So we have the first responders covered. And we were missing something. And Thunder Chicken was cool. And I kind of pitched an idea. I'm like, well, Harper, what if we did something for the Hispanic crowd? Because they had like I said, very heavy population down there in South Texas. I mean, they make up a large percentage of the people in the stands. So we kind of pitched around ideas, and I thought, well, what about the Crazy Bear? And I figured, we can do something to make this truck look like a bear, and I feel like it would be really cool. We have the teeth on the front, and actually we have some modifications coming. I just have to crash again and wreck this body, but we have a new body in the works, and I'm excited for the first time that you guys will be able to see it. But like I said, we just try to have a truck on the track that everybody in the stands can identify with, and the kids love El Oso Loco, and the fans love it as well.
Could that be why the body isn't fully painted, like Nick Miguez asked?
Yes. Did you finally paint the rest of your body? Actually, Nick, joke's on you. It is painted. It's just painted black. We did not wrap the rest of the body there, buddy. But yeah, we're just waiting for me to crash again. It's bound to happen sooner than later. I mean, I think Harper wants to put this new body on starting 2021 anyways. So it's going to happen here pretty soon. We're wrapping up our 2020 tour. We have a couple more shows coming up. And after that, where I guess whether if I roll or not, I mean, the new body's going to go on, and I'm you guys to see this new body. It has some modifications that make this thing look really mean.
We certainly can't wait to see it. You do a lot of your events with Monster Truck Wars, and most of your events are in the Texas area. You get to compete alongside Harper and whoever's in Barefoot. But a lot more recently, the driver sheriff has been Jared Eichelberger, former Triple Threat Series athlete. What has that experience been like working with somebody, competing alongside of someone who's driven for the top teams in the business?
So I'll tell you a story about Jared. I met him for the first time. First off, I love Jared now. Great guy. Nothing wrong with him. But I met him for the first time in 2015 in Austin, Texas at a Monster Jam show, Frank Irwin Center. He was a crew chief for his brother Colton in Gravedigger. And I asked him the same question I asked Harper. How would somebody get involved, crewing with Monster Jam? And Jared said, I don't know who you are, kid. I'd never help you. Get lost. That's what he told me. So I didn't meet him. I've never talked to him since that day. Well, this year in February, Graham, Texas, is when he drove sheriff for the first time. And that was my first time talking to him or even being around him since that day in 2015 in Austin, Texas. And when I figured out that he was going to be driving the sheriff at that show, I told Harper, round one, me and him, first race of the show. It might be the only pass that truck makes all day, but I guarantee you I am not going to lose to him. So we pulled to the line. Jared has no idea about this. He's forgot. So we pull to the line, the light goes green, and I hammer that throttle. I leave the line probably harder than I have ever left before. I was not going to lose to this guy. come around the turn, wide Chicago style racing, just wide open, drifting the entire way. I ended up beating him by like 2.5 trucks. And I will say that that was his first time in the truck. It's laid out a lot different than the Max D Monster Jam truck that he was used to driving, so I'll give him that. But after the show, I went up to him. We were actually tiring down. We had our Carolina Crusher truck at that show. We were tiring down Carolina Crusher, and I said, "Hey, Jared, do you remember being at Austin, Texas in 2015?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you remember somebody after the show, a kid came up to you and asked how you could start crooning in Monster Jam?" And he's like, "Vaguely." I'm like, "Do you remember telling that kid to get lost?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, well, hi, my name's Alex Bardin. I'm that kid, and he just beat you today." And since then, we're cool now. We're cool. It's great having Jared drive our truck. And I mean, he's a true competitor out there. He's not afraid to get dirty behind the scenes. I mean, he breaks, he's right in on the truck with it and fixing it, get it back on the track. And he does the stoppies at our shows. So, I have to try to one-up him. And I'm not going to lie, he does them so much better than I do. But, he drove Monster Jam. They do 114 shows or something a year. He should be better, than somebody that's just now started to do them. But having somebody like that in the other lane now at our shows it's I don't want to say it's refreshing, but it's nice to have somebody different, so to speak. And, I miss Adam, the guy that usually drives this truck. He's had some health problems, but he's going to be back, and I'm looking forward to having him back. And, I mean, we all miss him here, and we wish him, the best of luck with, his health and everything like that. And he's going to try to come back this December for our last show and test it out. But, Jared's been great. He's a great driver. He's a great mechanic. And now I can say he's a great friend. But I had to get that, that story in because that's really, I was really proud of myself when I beat him. I was not going to lose to him in that show in Graham. That's for sure. Like I said, if that was the only pass that this truck made, then so be it. I'm not going to lose.
So eventually you got some part-time opportunities to drive for 2 Extreme Racing, which actually you got to drive at some Monster Jam shows. So first, I want you to tell us about, your first time getting to drive one of Cretan trucks and your first time.
Yeah, so the first time I drove
Jam.
for 2 Extreme Racing was at a show in Brookville, Pennsylvania. And at a lot of the Monster Truck War shows we do, we do smaller buildings and whatnot, so the jumps aren't as big. We have big jumps, they're steeper, so they throw you a little bit higher. But being able to, kind of branch out and hit some bigger jumps, jump some school buses and hit some jammer cars and whatnot was really cool. And actually, Harper set that up with Jimmy to have me drive. Unfortunately, last summer, his B team was out with some injuries, non-work related. And, he needed a driver, and Jimmy didn't really know who I was. And, Harper said, well, I have Alex, and he does a pretty good job. He'll work on the trucks, and you won't have to pay him. I'll pay his way to get out there. So Harper paid my way to get there. I worked on the trucks, and I drove the trucks. And, they're set up a lot different than what I'm accustomed to here. I'm used to the ZF stuff, and he runs Clark's. They're solid pieces of equipment, and honestly, I'm thankful for the experiences that I've got and from driving with 2 Extreme last summer.
So from those experiences, you got to compete in your very first Monster Jam event, Salinas, California, and then later on in Nashville. But that first event in California, what's going through your mind? You grew up a fan. Monster Jam is the big leagues in so many people's eyes, and there you are in Red Baron in Monster Jam.
Yeah, absolutely. And that show, that whole weekend still kind of feels like a dream, so to speak. I got there, and funny story, the register chick there, Amber, I got out, and she said, "What are you here to do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm here to drive." And she's all like, "No, really, what are you here to do?" I'm like, "No, I'm driving Red Baron." So right off the bat, nobody even believed that I was there to drive. So that's great. But I was with Tyler and Colton. They got me in. Good stuff. So driving that first show was really awesome. It's a great experience. And like you said, that was the goal my entire life, was to get into a Monster Jam show. And I actually performed pretty well, I thought. Round 1, I was put up against Tyler Meniga and Gravedigger. Obviously, that was great. Tyler beat me, so that's good. Then we go into two-wheel skill, and that's where I have like the biggest sky wheel I've ever done. Is there's a picture of it. I was in that red variant. There it is. Yeah. So I've hit some log jumps before at some of these independent shows, and I call Harper. I'm like, man, Harper, they got these log jumps here. I've hit stuff like this before, but I mean, these are bigger. And he's like, oh, it'll be okay. Just hit them like you hit the ones at the shows you've done. So that's exactly what I do. Well, the shows that I've done, the logs have been sitting on the ground. These were sitting on a 5-foot pad of dirt, and I hit them, and I hit them really hard. And I found out really quick that I had way too much speed. So it shot the truck, I mean, straight up in there, as you can see. It came down past vertical, ripped the wheelie bar off. The wheelie bar, fun fact, was actually missing from that chassis for the remainder of the summer. They just patch welded it on. And, I mean, when it hit the ground, it hurt, but I knew I did something really cool. And, I mean, I heard the crowd over the truck, so, you know, honestly, in the air like that, because I was off the throttle. I was actually on the brakes to stop the rotation of the truck backwards. I tapped the brakes to, you know, stop it. How you used to see Damon Bradshaw and what Todd LeDuc and them do now. But man, that was a crazy hit, and I'm happy that my friend Evan Pasoko, he texted me, he said, give him a shout out. I'm happy that it was there to capture that. But that whole weekend was just really awesome, and it made it even better that I was able to race up against and be at an event with, you know, some of my close friends, Armando, Rosalie, Colton, and Tyler.
Hey, did you mail Amber that package?
I have not. I have not, but it will get to her. I can assure you that.
Anyways, so then you had the opportunity to drive in Nashville, Nissan Stadium. It was a TV event, and you're driving Bounty Hunter. 1 month prior, Jimmy Cretin won the World Racing Championship in Bounty Hunter, and now you're driving the world champion truck on TV. What's going through your mind?
That show, I mean, like I just said, Salinas felt like a dream. This one, Nashville, Tennessee, was the biggest show I've ever done in my entire life, obviously. And the picture that you're seeing right now, I actually saw it for the first time pulling to the line in round 1 of racing. And because on Friday during practice, they had just had Jimmy Cretin up there with Bounty Hunter. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm just going to be Jimmy Cretin. I guess, boy, I pulled to the line and that pops up. And I mean, when I say I was in tears because I've waited my entire life to see that, to see my name on the Jumbotron at a Monster Jam Stadium event. And that was like 23 years in the making, you know, from my first show to that point. And to be able to like finally say at that moment in round 1, like that I made it, you know, that I was there, that this was happening. And I was fighting back tears to the point where I didn't even see the lights go green, you know, for racing. And that whole weekend was just an incredible experience that I'm super thankful for, you know, everybody that gave me that chance, you know, Jimmy Cretin, you know, Michael Harper, obviously Monster Jam for approving me to do those shows, you know, last summer is just incredible. And that is a show that I will never forget. You know, I didn't perform how I wanted to, you know, we had some issues with the truck and whatnot, but I'm hoping down the line I get another opportunity to drive in a Monster Jam Stadium show, whether that's in one of our trucks, my own truck, or one of their trucks. I want one more chance to say that I did it. You know, like I said, I didn't perform the way I wanted to, but the fans overall still went home satisfied. So, you know, I was just happy to be there. And I actually told Leslie Mears, and before the show, during the pit party, she interviewed each driver for the broadcast, NBC broadcast, and she asked if I had any expectations for tonight, and my answer was I have no expectations. You know, I'm happy to be here, and I'm going to enjoy this because I don't know if it's ever going to happen again. And that was just a truly incredible weekend, and I will never forget that weekend. That's for sure.
Got a lot of great comments here. A lot of you know, drivers here. So Cody Sose was in here, and Street giving her a shout out from her and Paul. A lot of great comments in here. My man Joe Foley's in here as well. Got a question here from Chris Mormanis. I don't know he was going to ask about this. How did it feel to drive a legendary name like Thunder Chicken?
Oh yeah, Chris. I know that's one of his favorite trucks of ours. I know Chris. He used to come through the autograph line at the World Finals. He has all the old pins and stuff on his hat. Super cool. And honestly, to be able to drive like a name like Thunder Chicken and Outlaw, it's a huge honor because the names have such a rich history in the sport of monster trucks. Even a name like Carolina Crusher and Barefoot, they've had so much success. And I mean, I have people that come up in the pit parties when I used to drive Thunder Chicken or when I was with Carolina Crusher that they remember seeing that truck as a kid and with their parents taking them to the show. And now they get to bring their kids to the show and they get to see the same truck, so to speak. And, it's just a huge honor to be able to drive some of the most, honestly, legendary names in the sport of monster truck racing for sure.
Got another couple comments in here. Actually, you know what? I'll jump to this now. A lot of guys in here. Alex, what's your favorite video game?
Oh yeah, you see, I sent you some pictures because I knew this was going to get brought up. So you got some pictures to go along with my favorite video game.
Halo?
Absolutely. My favorite video game is Halo, anything from the Halo franchise. And one, because I'm just really good at the game, and two, because of what you're looking at here. So for everybody, probably 99% of the people watching the stream right now that don't know what this is, we used to do a thing called Halo Monster Jam. And it started back in 2010. I met Evan Pasoko, he Monster Jam Films. I met him through Xbox. And I was building Monster Jam tracks on Halo, and he had an idea to kind of do a league, so to speak. And he pitched it to me, and I didn't think it was going to work out. I thought it was a dumb idea. I didn't think anybody that played Halo did Monster Jam stuff. I thought I was the only one, and then Evan came along, and Evan did it too. And was I ever wrong? Because when I tell you this was my middle school through early college years, I mean, 100% this was my middle school through early college years. Like this was this was a really good part of my life. And like I've met so many awesome people through Halo Monster Jam. We when this first started, Evan pitched that he wanted to do 10 seasons, and we did 10 seasons. We finished it out. We started this whenever we were in middle school, and we ended it when we were in college. Every Friday we did a show, and Sunday we did a show. And everything that you see in this picture, we built, right? Like I built this track, the stadium was built. I mean, everything was constructed by us in a video game that was never intended for any of this to happen. So when it was all said and done, I met a lot of really awesome people through this community, people that I no longer can only call like online friends, but real world friends as well. And people like Devin, Mason Thompson, Evan Pasoko, Jack Gaffney, all the people that, Phil, you basically saw at our World Finals group came from this community, this Halo Monster Jam community. And, when it was all said and done, like I said, a lot of really awesome people. I was an 8-time champion, so I always rub it in Evan's face because he only won one time. So get you some of that right there, Evan. Still going to rub it into your face. But a lot of fun, and that was really, really, really good times. And I miss that. I miss having the time to do that. They still do Halo Monster Jam events. It's not, I don't really do them anymore, not because I don't want to. It's just I don't have the time. We have events on the weekends, and it coincides with their events now, and we left it in good hands. That's all that I'll say, and it does my heart good to see that it's still rocking and rolling to this day.
Well, it's time to segment to our next segment. It's time for Explain That Photo. Rules are simple. We'll bring up a photo and you'll have to explain it. We've already done some of that, so I guess that was just practice. So here we go. First picture. Explain that photo.
Okay, so this was at our first show in Victoria, Texas this year. That's Tanya. I'm actually friends with her now from this interview. And I had no idea that we had a news broadcast station coming. So she shows up with a camera and she just like sticks his microphone in my face, and I totally have to like say what Monster Truck Wars is about, what monster trucks are, what we're gonna do here. And she caught me off guard, but I got through it. I'm really good at just talking on the mic and talking off the fly, so to speak. But she's awesome, and she sent me the video actually of that broadcast. And she came to some of our other shows in Beeville, Texas. She was there. They did a coverage there as well. At that time, I knew she was going to be there, so I had time to prepare. But during the pit party, Harper comes up and says, "Hey, you're doing a news broadcast." I'm like, "What?" And sure enough, not 4 minutes later, here comes camera, and I'm like, "Oh, geez." I had no idea they were going to be there, but yeah, that was my first time on the news with monster trucks as well, so that was really cool.
Phil, do you have any other photos for us?
Oh, I have plenty, but we can't show them all here tonight because Alex sent me like 100. But
hey, you said you needed pictures.
We'll show them all down the line, but here's our greatest hits here tonight. Show me another picture.
Oh yeah, so that's Houston 2009. And that Dennis Anderson, like I said, he was my biggest inspiration growing up. And every time when the pit party opened, we got there super early, my family and I. And Dennis would be the first guy that I ran to because I knew his line was going to be super long. And it was just always great seeing Dennis. And he always had a great he always made time for his fans and had a great personality. And I always told him I want to drive a monster truck, and he always told me to kind of, pursue it. And who knows, maybe I'll see you in the other lane one day. And it's kind of crazy and ironic because, in Nashville, I got a chance to pair up against Adam Anderson, and that was kind of cool. It wasn't Dennis, but he did say maybe I'll see you in the other lane someday. And Adam was there, and I mean that's almost like the next best thing in my opinion. But Dennis is such a great guy, and I wish I had an opportunity to race him, even if he wasn't King Sling, and it was one of them independent shows that he does with that now. I just I don't know. He's such a huge inspiration. So that's what that picture is all about. I had to run and get Dennis's autograph first time every single year.
Well, we got one more photo for you. Explain this one.
So this photo right here is actually the first time Monster Jam ever came to my hometown show in Corpus Christi, Texas. This was the American Bank Center in 2005. That's me and my younger brother, Logan. And little did that man in the middle know that I would be driving one of his trucks in the future. Little did I know as well. But, Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter 2 Extreme Racing was always one of my younger brother's favorite trucks. Actually, it was his favorite truck, Bounty Hunter and Scarlet Bandit. There's a picture I have of him and I. We actually had signs. He at one of the Houston shows, I had a Max D sign, and he had a Bounty Hunter and Scarlet Bandit sign. And so we always had to go see Jimmy Cretin for his sake.
See, that's why I wanted to bring up that picture, because I think it's just so cool that you standing there in his autograph line, and years later you're representing him and his team.
Yeah, and that's another thing. It's weird how things in life come full circle, and that's another thing. Never in a million years did I think that I would be driving Bounty Hunter and working with Jimmy Cretin. It's just such it's weird how things in life happen like that. And same thing with this truck behind me. It used to be a Triple X, and I in Houston in 2010 was waiting in line to get RB Moeller's autograph. And little did I know that I would be driving that truck, so it's weird how things like that happen. RB's Mole. Yeah. I started there, but yeah, it's weird how things like that happen in life, man, and how you don't even know.
Well, enough about RB's Mole. This question's asked a lot from one of our great mini monster dads, Mike Mentor, and I really want to hear your perspective on this one. What do you think of the mini monsters running today?
So actually, we've done some shows with Al and Pizzo, and Pizzo's kids run in a mini monster, and Pizzo builds mini monsters, and I think they're the coolest thing, and I wish I had something like that growing up that I could mess around with. And yeah, I had a go-kart. I had a go-kart that we built massive dirt jumps for, and it had a roll cage. And honestly, it didn't have the suspension for the height that I was getting off the jumps, but I'm still here today. I can still walk, so I guess it was okay. But no, I think the mini monsters are super cool. And I mean, I was blown away. My first time seeing them was actually when I went to Pizzo's place last summer. I was passing through, and I stayed there for the night. And seeing it up close, I never realized how like identical they are to, I mean, the full size trucks. And I think the mini monsters are super awesome. And I think it's a great way for kids that possibly want to do this in the future to, you know, get experience and, I mean, get their foot in the door with it.
See, that's why I want to get your perspective, because when you were getting into the business, the mini monster scene was around, but it wasn't as strong as it is now, or at least maybe the monsters were for a lot smaller kids. So I'd have to imagine if you had that opportunity when you were younger, would you have driven a mini monster? Would you see yourself as a mini monster driver?
You know, I would hope so. You know, growing up, we didn't really have a lot of money, so I know they're expensive. And, I mean, I would love to say yes. I would. I mean, if I had money to do that, you know, yes, I would have loved to have a mini monster. But I had my go-kart and I made do. And you know, the mini monster stuff is cool. And if I had the chance to have one as a kid, if I could go back and have my childhood again, I would have it in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
So we have a lot of people you did club with in Houston. I know that Houston club is one of the largest in Monster Jam. And I know I'm not going to make you name names on who your favorite is, but there's a question here from Matthew G. And he said, ask about his Houston club initiation.
Yep. Okay. So in 2014, let me backtrack a little bit. So as I said earlier in the podcast, back in 2013, the January show in Houston was my first time doing club for the Houston track crew. So I did the 2 January shows and then the February show in 2013. And then I did the 2 January shows and the February show in 2014. Well, at the end of the February show in 2014, everybody, when you they initiated me into the Houston track crew. And basically what they did was they acted like they had like a surprise for me, like a present out in the parking lot. And they wanted to take a group picture at the end of the show. And they wanted me to stand in front of one of those big like poles in the parking lot that divide the spaces. And what they did is they took the picture and then everybody had like a roll of red duct tape and they duct taped me to the pole and I couldn't get off the pole. And so that was my initiation. And it really caught me off guard. But all those guys, man, on the Houston track crew, great guys. And I miss being able to go down there and do that with them. I really do. Matt actually was at our show in Conroe last weekend. And it was great seeing him. It was great seeing Amber. And, man, I really miss those guys. And I hope there's some free time that opens up that I could go down there and do it again because I would love to catch up.
Well, Phil, do you have anything from our buddy Brian Anger?
Of course, because I forgot him last week. So my buddy Brian Anger, it's not so much of a question, but he asks you, do you remember the time you guys were at Sam Boyd Stadium and you were thrown off the roof?
Absolutely. I think you were there too, Phil. So we were watching the All-Star Challenge Freestyle last October, and no problems. We watched racing up there, and you know, we didn't have the credentials to be up there, but we were with people that had escort permission with their credentials. And there's a security guy up there and just being really like big stick in the mud. And anyways, he ended up kicking everybody off. Brian actually like left his credentials or something at home or the hotel or something like that. He didn't have them, but I think like 3 of the 4 people up there had them, and each escorted one person up on top of the Findlay Toyota Tower. And it actually worked out better because we were able to go watch it from the press box, which was really cool to be in there with everybody.
I always ask that Brian Anger question, and this is a natural question where he has some sort of attachment to. So I'm happy to ask that here tonight. And he knows to never leave home without that credential. Even though when we're doing this interview, there's not a lot of events going on. He still takes it with him to like Target and Walmart and stuff like that.
I'll tell you what, that security guy at Sam Boyd Stadium, even if he had it, would not have helped him that night. I can guarantee you.
Well, moving on in our crash course segment of the comment section, here's Levi Shones. He says, have you ever walked into some guy's hotel room at 4 a.m?
This is another All-Star weekend story. Yes, we have actually. And Levi, you were totally asleep, man. You didn't even hear us. We were quiet, though, and Levi, he was snoring super loud. He didn't even hear us come in, but yeah, we did. Levi let us stay there. We were supposed to actually head back to Texas. I went up to that show and that All-Star show with one of my friends, RJ Darrow, and we flew out, and then we were going to drive back. RJ wanted to drive back. Not me. You, RJ. So Sunday after the show, we were tired, long day, and so I asked Levi if we could like stay in his hotel room. I knew the person that he was with actually had left that night. So I knew there was going to be like an open bed, so to speak. So I asked him and he was okay with it. But yeah, we walked into his hotel room at 4 a.m. Sunset Station in Las Vegas. And thank you, Levi. I appreciate it.
Well, that's nice to know because I was in that room prior, so I'm guessing you took my bed.
Well, thank you, Phil. Once
dear.
again, it's funny how things in life work like that, right?
This is getting a little too personal. I don't know. Hey, Vinny, you got another question there? The transition?
Yeah, I was just thinking. I want to know, what's your end goal with the monster truck industry? What is something you want to accomplish, whether it be maybe competing in the World Finals or maybe something else?
The end goal in Monster Jam, not Monster Jam, in the monster truck industry has always been Monster Jam. I'd love to do more Monster Jam stuff. And whether that happens or not, I'd be okay with, because right here with Monster Truck Wars, I'm having the time of my life every single weekend. I'm getting to, connect with fans and really headline our shows, with Harper and I, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But I think end goal is I would love to do some more Monster Jam stuff, and I wanna win a championship one day. I want to be one of the few people to win a racing world championship and a freestyle world championship. I know they do like 7 championships overall, like high jump, 2-wheel skill, and in my opinion, just to be brutally honest, that none of that matters to me. It's the racing and the freestyle championship that I want. And that's my end goal one day, and hopefully I get a chance to do it. If not, then my end goal in the industry is just to keep doing this for as long as my body and God will allow me to do it. And then when it's all said and done, I don't know, maybe I'll promote some of my own shows or get my own truck and just do some exhibition stuff. But my goal is to be involved in this industry my entire life, because it's really what I've done and the only thing I've known for my entire life.
I got a kind of a follow-up question to that. It was from Luke Clark earlier, and he mentions, is your long-term goal could be eventually to own/run your own team?
So I would love to run my own team. However, I can see how much of a job it is, so to speak. I see how busy Harper is, and with the 4 trucks that we run every weekend, it can get expensive. So I wouldn't really say I would want to own or run my own team. I think just be affiliated with a team that I can build a relationship with, kind of like I've done here at Team 1990. And at the end of the day, if nothing else happens, I'd be happy to hang my hat here at Team 1990, for the rest of my career. I'd have no problem with that, because like I said, I'm having a lot of fun, and every single day is something new. You never know what you're going to get to do around here, and I love that. So I'm just happy and thankful that I'm a part of it.
Got a lot of great comments in here from a lot of your competitors and colleagues. I mentioned a few of them. Just got another one in here from the driver of Rat Attack, Jacob Ladwig, and he says, awesome to see you kicking butt, Alex. Hope to race again one day. Keep up the hard work.
Yeah, I've known Jacob for a while, and back when I was crewing with Harper, just as his crew chief, he was driving, Rat Attack at the show, and I've talked to him a lot, and it's awesome to see that he's here tuning in. And the only time I've raced up against him was that one show where I was driving Outlaws. So I would love to race against him when I'm in a truck that I'm comfortable with. I know Jacob, though, he's got them slap wheelies down to science. I'm sure he can do them in his sleep by now. So he's got me one-upped on the slap wheelies. But no, Jacob is a great guy, works super hard, and I'm happy to see him having success as well.
Do you remember your first win, and what was that moment like for you?
Yeah, so my first win, I actually came from driving the Outlaw truck. It was a racing win in Gonzales, Texas, and I was filling in for Harper. He was actually at a wedding that weekend, one of his friends, and put me in the Outlaw truck, and Adam was there and the sheriff, and somehow I made it through the racing bracket. I was able to beat Monster Patrol in the finals, and that was great to be able to win, and it felt awesome because the first win is always I think the biggest one is the one that you remember the most, and to be able to do it in a truck that I wasn't as comfortable in, so to speak, well, it just kind of made it that much more special to me.
So you've competed in a lot of places, and one of the more unique places you got to go was north of the border into Canada. You drove one of Jimmy Cretan's trucks in New Brunswick. What was that experience like driving for Monster Spectacular?
So I actually grew up watching. They used to make a really awesome Montreal Olympic Stadium. Their big show they do every year. They used to make a highlight video. So I always used to watch that on YouTube every year. I'd look forward to that video. And so to finally be able to run for them was really cool. And once again, another thing that's kind of weird how things happen in life like that. But Moncton, it was awesome to first off do something out of the country. That was my first time, being international just in anything. And to be there with a monster truck and to be driving Red Baron, that's their truck, so to speak. And so that's me driving their Gravedigger. I went out last, I think, for freestyle. So they expected me to really drive hard, and I did exactly just that. It was a small hockey arena that actually opened up 2 weeks ago, and the first thing they ever had in that building was monster trucks. And man, it was awesome. Donuts were super easy in that building. It had a nice finish on the concrete, and just be able to whip them in there, hit the cars wide open, send that thing. I love concrete shows because it's old school, iron wall and cars, and had a lot of fun. And it was a huge honor to show the fans of Canada what a boy from South Texas could do.
I'd have to imagine that was the smallest venue you've competed in.
Absolutely. There's a joke actually when we walk into a really small building between Harper and I. It's man, we're going to be flying airplanes in a closet this weekend, and that's exactly what it was in Moncton, Canada. It was a very small arena, but hey, we made the best of it. I thought the fans got a great show, and when it's a small arena, you just do bigger, faster donuts, put them into cyclones and better sky wheelies, and that's exactly what we did up there in Canada. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun.
And I have to ask this. Have you ever been to Grand Prairie?
I have not been to Grand Prairie. I have not.
Come on. Well, you had to ask it. Well, I'm going to ask a question. So there's lots of venues out there, like Phil said. You're mainly sticking in the West area with being Texas. Is there any place you'd like to go to and compete, or places?
Okay, so the only does it have to be currently monster trucks go there? That's my question for you.
Well, I'm thinking you're going to say Sam Boyd Stadium, but
no, absolutely not. I mean, that's on the list.
I know what he's going to say.
Houston Astrodome.
There you go.
Yeah. Hands down, if I could compete in one stadium, one building in the entire world, how about that? Would be the Houston Astrodome. That's where this entire dream started for me, and I want to compete in that stadium. And there's something about it. It's deemed the eighth wonder of the world, and that it is huge. I mean, the floor is massive, the tunnel's massive, and there's just something about that stadium that makes me want to compete there. And actually, back in 2015, it was the 50th anniversary of the Astrodome, and we were able to bring our Thunder Chicken and Outlaw truck to be on display. And to be we were a part of the first monster truck team allowed back onto the Astrodome property since the last show Monster Jam did there in 2002, November of 2002. So that was really cool. And I think, honestly, that's as close as I'm going to get to be able to compete in the Astrodome. They actually were going to let us drive the trucks into the stadium, but they welded the tunnel so the height was shorter on one side of the tunnel than the other, so the trucks would not have fit. But if I would have been able to drive a truck into the Astrodome, even just drive it into the building, I could have died happily at that point, and like they would have been great. Because I don't know, like I said, there's just something about that building that is special to me, and I think it's just because that's where I, saw Dennis Anderson for the first time and heard Bad to the Bone, and like I said earlier, the crowd cheer, and that's really what made me want to do this. And I just want to be able to experience a show in that building and be a part of the show in that building, I should say.
We have a question here from another guy in the streets, Dallas Glenn Rogers from Crash Test Dummy. He wants to know what has been the most unexpected thing about monster trucks you've learned or experienced and that most fans would never know or realize.
So the most unexpected thing about monster trucks is everything on these trucks will test you. And what I mean by that is it will test your patience. Nothing is ever going to be just straightforward, put the tire on, put the bolt through. It's going to fight you the entire way. And Dallas, I'm sure, knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's never just, oh, put the load tire on, or, oh, let's put the new tie rod in. No, you have to hit the tie rod in with a hammer and then hit the bolt through with a hammer. It's never just straightforward, easy. And I kind of like that because it makes you think about, okay, how am I gonna get this done? And it definitely keeps you aware. So I think the most unexpected thing is how nothing goes expected.
Got a lot of great industry members still in the chat here. I saw Richie Atsko giving you a shout out. Your buddy Glennerson with a shout out. And another question here from Ann Streets, driver of Muddy Girl. She says, Alex, do you hum when you drive?
Do I hum when I drive? No, I don't. But according to Ann, I do mess with my helmet a lot. When I drive, I tend to pull it down. I don't even realize I'm doing it, but I tend to pull it down I don't know. Yeah, I guess it may be a nervous thing. I don't realize I do it, but no, I don't hum when I drive. I do, tap my foot like Paul does, and during intros, I like the intro music. I kind of get into the groove a little bit.
Also saw my man Chase Teague in the comments. Shout out to him, and also shout out to my friend Landon, a friend of yours as well, as the reigning, defending, undefeated HRMJ freestyle champ. It's been an honor to share lobbies and get to know you, Alex. A1 human.
That's another Halo Monster Jam guy, and Landon, man. We got to meet someday. I got to get out to a show in California. You got to come down to one of our shows here in Texas, man. We've met so many people through that community, but I've yet to meet Landon, and he's on the top of my list. He's super cool, super fun to talk with online. It's awesome to see that he's in here.
And another one from CJ Burris. Do we have a crash in Minneapolis Metro?
Oh my God. Yes, CJ. We don't have a crash anymore because that stadium is not there. But we did have a crash.
Fair enough.
Inside joke, once again, that's another Halo Monster Jam deal.
Listen, whatever you do with your video games, that's fine with me. I know you're a busy guy. So another question from one of the Texas boys, Jose. He says, what is your favorite show to do in Texas?
So my favorite show is always going to be anything in Houston. Usually, that's more or less Monster Jam related in Houston. But honestly, probably my favorite place we go in Texas is where I met Harper in Victoria, Texas, at the Victoria Community Center. It's nothing for a building. It's short ceiling height, really narrow, really long. So we're able to do straight line racing there. But I think just it kind of all started there for me in that building with Harper and I. So anytime that we get the chance to go back and race there, it's just special.
And I saw another barefoot question from Nick Bolger. I'll change this up again. It said, Alex, with the way barefoot for your team is going, do you think the stats will make it to 100 drivers ever drive barefoot? Now, there's 3 different barefoots going on right now. So let me change it up a little bit. Do you think it'll be thanks to you guys barefoot will get to 100 drivers?
I can say without a doubt, absolutely 100% that barefoot will make it to 100 drivers. Just, I mean, because like I said, it's been around since I think July. It did its first show in Shelbyville, Tennessee, and since then it's had like 7 or 8 different drivers. I'm not joking. It's like it's crazy. It like I said earlier, it's our community truck, and anybody that wants to drive that's helped us in the past, that's their truck to drive, you know. So it's definitely going to get to 100 drivers. I mean, I'm probably going to drive it at some point. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the 100th driver. I don't know.
Well, I hope you do here. Hey, I have another question. You know, we've been talking about, you know, a lot of your opportunities with Jimmy Creighton and how much Harper has helped you. Those are the 2 teams you've driven for. Now, I know we talked about the difference in trucks in the Harper camp, but what's the biggest difference from driving a truck for 2 Extreme Racing compared to the ones for Team 1990?
So I think the biggest difference is just the way they handle. You know, their Clarks are a lot heavier than the ZFs. So ZFs, I mean, these things will fly through the air with ease. Where with the Clark trucks, I mean, you have to have a little bit more, you know, momentum behind your jumps and stuff. And that first weekend in Pennsylvania, I was really figuring that out. You know, with donuts with a ZF truck, I mean, it's like taking candy from a baby. You just turn to the left, turn self-center off, and I mean, you're doing a donut. Well, with Clarks, you got to give it a little bit more. And you know, that whole first weekend, I was figuring that out. It's just, you know, they're a little bit heavier. To me, I think they're a little bit more sluggish. And actually, like, whenever we switched this truck over to ZFs from Clarks, we went and it was a couple summers ago. We went 25 feet back from a dirt tabletop, did a 1-2 hole shot, hit the jump. We came into the shop, rolled the rear ends out, put ZF rear ends under in a couple of days, went back out, marked it again 25 feet out, did a 1-2 hole shot, and the truck from the same distance is another 15 feet in the air. And nothing else changed except for the rear ends that we had under it from Clarks to ZFs. So I think that was the biggest difference, is they're just a little bit heavier. They feel a little bit more sluggish. Everything was kind of laid out the same in the cab, except for the rear steer. And all of our trucks, the rear steer is actually to our side down here, and and their trucks, the rear steer is on a toggle switch, like most of people see and like onboard GoPro stuff on Monster Jams broadcasts.
Got a comment here from Adam Wilson, and he says, "You can drive Sheriff."
No, Adam, I can't drive Sheriff. You got to get healthy so you can come back and drive Sheriff. I got this one behind me. You got Sheriff, and then who knows? Maybe we'll throw Jared and Crusher or something at that point. But no, you got to come and drive Sheriff, man. I can't drive that thing. The only time I drove it, blew the front end up, and the third member welded together doing a donut. So that's not my cup of tea, buddy. That's all you.
Can't beat the OG Sheriff. Hope you're doing well, Adam. Got another comment here. We've got from Alexander Parrish. She says, I've talked to you before, and you said you've run dirt equipment. What's it like bringing in the dirt?
Yeah, so I run like equipment as well. And actually, the first time that I ran equipment was at that show in Shelbyville, Tennessee. And I showed up, and I kind of had to just figure it out. You know, I tried to watch like tutorial videos, and nothing would come up. So, you know, not that make and model, so to speak. So I just kind of had to like put the key in it and like mess with stuff. But, you know, it's cool because now I can say that I can really like kind of do it all, so to speak. I could help build the track if need be. I already get the trucks ready for the shows with the help of our crew guy, Berto and Harper. He helps us out. So I already know how to get the trucks ready. And now I also kind of, if I have to, I can build the track, I should say. It probably won't be the best track, you know, with the shape of the jumps, but hey, I'll give it 110%. That's for sure.
So as we start winding down, you know, your story, your fan to driver, what advice would you have for a fan wanting to get involved with the industry and get their foot in the door?
So the biggest thing that I could tell, and I mean, I preach this to all the kids at the shows. I mean, it doesn't matter what you want to do in life, whether you want to be a NASCAR driver, an astronaut, a teacher, a doctor. the president or even a monster truck driver. You know, I tell all the kids, if you have a dream, never let anyone tell you no and pursue it. And I think the most important thing is I also tell the parents that they need to support their kids' dream, no matter what it is they want to do. Because, I mean, it's really unfortunate that there's parents that, you know, don't support their kids. And I was blessed to have, you know, two great parents that really did that. You know, my family supported me, and I'm forever thankful for them for supporting me. But to anybody wanting to get in the monster truck industry, all I can say is ask around, because that's what I did. You know, I mean, I think I got lucky. I think I was at the right place at the right time, and Harper saw something in me that he liked. So definitely do not be afraid to ask for help. You know, independent teams at local small speedway shows or small arena shows, like, hey, can I help you tire down? Or hey, can I help you in between shows? And I mean, most of the time they'll probably say yes, because it's always good to have a hand, especially if you're there by yourself. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And then another thing is, don't be afraid to work hard, you know. And me, I worked on these trucks for 7 years before I ever got a chance to even start one, you know, and move it. So I feel like a lot of people say they want to drive a monster truck, but at the same time, not a lot of people want to put in the work it takes to drive a monster truck. Nobody's just going to put you in one of their trucks. You're going to have to work for it. And, you know, I knew that. So you can't be afraid to work, and you have to be willing to work hard. You have to be dedicated. And if you're that, then I guarantee you the sky's the limit. And if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And I'm living proof of that.
So let me go further into that question. What advice do you have someone who is, you know, mechanically challenged? They get their foot in the door, but, you know, they don't know much mechanically about the trucks. What advice would you have for that?
Yeah, so like I said, I touched on it a little bit earlier. When I met Harper back in 2012, I knew a little bit about the trucks. I had no idea how to change a transmission, how to rip a third member out and put a new one in. And just from staying dedicated and working on the trucks over the years, you learn. You know, it's like almost as much as crazy as it sounds, some teams prefer somebody that really doesn't know anything, so they can teach them how to do it their way, you know. And I think maybe that's kind of what Harper saw in me, is I didn't really know much, so he taught me his way, and now everything I do it his way. So I mean, really, you don't need, you know, any experience to be able to work on these trucks. You can learn, because I learned.
I know you've been to a lot of them, and I have to ask, what has been your favorite memory from the Monster Jam World Finals?
So, man, my favorite memory, I think, honestly, the front flip, I think, was cool, right? But that's not my favorite memory. That was just like did that really just happen moment, you know? And my favorite memory, back in World Finals 13, met Mark Schrader at the track walk, and Kelly Hansen was with him. She was in charge of the speed broadcast stuff. It was Speed Channel at the time. And I interviewed Mark Schrader during the track walk with the camera pointing to me rather than Mark Schrader interviewing me. And I did such a good job that Kelly was super surprised that she let me go around for the rest of the day and interview the drivers of the Young Gun Shootout, of the World Finals actual like competing field. So I got to interview like Becky, Donald, Greg Witchenbach, you know, Tom Mentz and stuff like that. And, you know, with the camera rolling, pointing towards me. And I did such a good job that they wanted me back the following day to actually work with Christy Lee. They had Christy Lee out that year as like a special host for the World Finals. So that was probably my favorite memory from the World Finals, was just being able to kind of, you know, do the speed broadcast stuff. None of it ever made the, like, you know, the broadcast, obviously, but having the camera pointing, rolling was really cool.
You know, that wasn't an answer I was expecting, but I'd have to think another favorite moment of yours was being a part of the parade at the end of the World Finals.
So, you see, there's so
You're not
much
that old
stuff
yet.
happened. There's so much stuff that has happened at that stadium to me that I can't, like, I mean, I met Bill Goldberg. I bumped into Bill Goldberg, like he was walking backwards. I was walking backwards. It was like something out of the comedy movie. We hit backs, and I turned around. I'm like, oh, Bill Goldberg. And I was like, well, then, this guy is huge. But And then I was like, sorry, I was just trying to get to the autograph line, the pit party line. And anyways, yeah, driving in the parade was super cool. And that was actually the first time or the second time I ever drove Outlaw was in that deal. And I mean, Harper put a lot of trust in me because he was standing up on top of the roof. I didn't know he was going to be standing. I thought he was like sitting on the roof like most of the drivers do. And yeah, he was totally standing up, and I was like, whoa, that's definitely trusting me. Second time ever driving this truck with the 66-inch tires on. So that was cool as well. I was able to drive a couple of times in the parade, and once the second year we had Thunder Chicken out there, it was just Thunder Chicken, by itself. We didn't have Outlaw out there, and I was in the chicken suit, like over the motor. And with Thunder Chicken, it was kind of like the old school, the header pipes stuck up, straight up. And so we had the header pipes that stuck up on ours. So I was standing over the motor with the chicken suit on, and that chicken head just filled with exhaust fumes. And I had to take the chicken head off. I couldn't do it. So if you look, I'm wearing like a Thunder Chicken crew shirt and like the feather arms, and the helmet's like the chicken head's like sticking out the window. But that stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, Sam Boyd Stadium, so many of my like most fond memories from the monster truck industry come from that facility there. So I mean, it's hard to pick one. And I think I just picked the Speed Broadcast one because it's something that was just so out of the blue that I was not expecting, that it was almost like they wanted, me, after the first day, after that track walk, Mark Schrader disappeared, and I was like in Mark Schrader's place. So I didn't know really what was going on. So I think that just stuck out to me as being the most like awkward thing, so to speak, like the most unexpected. And so that's why I chose that. But honestly, I mean, you could throw a dart at a dartboard and whatever it lands on could be my, favorite memory from that place. It's just, there's been a lot of really awesome times that have come from that facility. The same thing.
You've been so many places, you've done so many things in so many capacities. I would have to imagine that in such a general question, this could be hard to pinpoint. What has been your favorite memory thus far?
I think my favorite memory is just honestly anytime that I can drive one of these trucks and my parents are there at the shows. I have a picture of from that Astrodome show of me on my dad's shoulders, and it's just cool being able to drive a truck now. They supported me my entire life, taking me to these shows growing up all over the state of Texas, and now it's cool that they can come to a show and they can see me behind the wheel of the truck. So I think just my favorite memory, my favorite moment is just, there it is, that picture right there. Just my favorite moment, my favorite memory is just any time that I can just know that they're there watching me and cheering me on. My dad, when he's at the show, he's my crew chief, and he's still lifting me up on his shoulders, so to speak, as I climb into that truck. And my mom, she's my biggest cheerleader. I can see her in the stands during racing, jumping up and down and screaming and hollering. And it's just great having them there. And that's my favorite moment, and always has been and always will be.
Gosh darn, Alex, usually it's my job to make the guests cry. Ask Charles Benz. I have to ask Charles Benz that, but you're making me cry. That's so beautiful. I don't know what to say. Well, Alex, you are a rising star in this business. You're picture perfect on how it's supposed to be done in so many ways. And to wrap up the show, I always try to ask this question to every guest. Accomplished a lot, done a lot, and you're not done yet. But when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I know you say I'm a rising star and stuff, but I don't really see myself like that. And I think that's because everything that I've done in life, I've had to work for. I've had to work to be where I'm at right now with this team, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. And, I'm incredibly humble, and I'm just happy and fortunate that I get to do this. I know so many people want to do this, and some people go their entire lives trying to find something that they're passionate about. And I was very fortunate to find mine at a very young age, that being monster trucks. And honestly, when this is all said and done, I just want to be remembered as, the good old boy, the good old kid that had a dream, that stayed dedicated, that never let anyone tell him no, and that literally took his dream and made it a reality. I was the kid that, I wasn't really popular in school. I got picked on a lot because of what I wanted to do. Back in high school, I had a counselor that it was college and career day, and you had to go up on stage and say what you wanted to do. And I said I wanted to drive a monster truck. And in front of the entire student body, all my peers, she said, "That's not a real job. Pick something else." She handed the microphone back to me, and I said, "I just told you I want to drive a monster truck." And I dropped the mic and I walked off stage. And everything in my life has just fueled me to get to that point. And anyone that's ever doubted me, I've used that to get to this point. So honestly, when this is all said and done, I want to be remembered in this industry as the person that had to work for everything to get to the point where he's at right now, that nothing was ever given to him, that literally tore the truck apart behind him and put it back together so he could drive it. And I just want to thank everybody that's ever given me a chance, my parents, Michael Harper, for seeing something in me back 9 years ago in Victoria, Texas, that I didn't even see in myself at the time. Without that man, I don't know where I'd be, but I would not be sitting in this chair right now, doing this podcast with you guys. That's for damn sure. So I'm grateful for Michael Harper, Nancy, Adam, Renee, all of my friends at the Houston track crew that have, helped me out throughout the years and, have let me help them. And, Jimmy Cretin, obviously, for, letting me drive, Monster Jam, and just anyone that's ever believed in me. And there's so many people, and I know I'm forgetting to thank them, but they know who they are. And I just want to thank you guys for believing in a kid, believing in my abilities, and helping me accomplish my dream.
Well, gosh darn, Alex Rodriguez, it's been incredible story, incredible journey. From one dork to another dork, us super fans got to stick together. And I think Vinny can attest to that too. That's every answer you said tonight is 100% how every fan that is trying to get into the sport should conduct themselves on the internet and at events. And that should be the poster child for everybody. That what you've accomplished and how you've conducted yourself and answer questions. It's about remaining humble, and that's there's nothing else to say. That's exactly how it's supposed to be done.
I appreciate that, and those are very kind words. The whole poster child thing and whatnot, and I'm just very fortunate. Very fortunate and very hardworking.
Definitely agree.
Absolutely. Hey, Alex, thank you very much for being involved here with our podcast tonight. If fans want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram, Alex Bardin, MT. Just my name as you see it down here at the bottom of my screen, no spaces, and then the MT for monster truck, go figure. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. You'll see all the cool stuff that we have going on at the shop here and at the shows, and kind of keep up with my crazy life, so to speak. Like I said, you never know what you're going to do around here at Team 1990, and that's exactly why I love it. So you guys can check me out there, and I'm always down to talk. So don't be afraid to send a message. I'm an open book, So thank you guys for having me, and I truly appreciate you two, and what you guys have going on here is awesome, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Our pleasure having you on the show tonight, Alex. You answered some of my questions, and it was great hearing your story, and maybe we'll have you on in the future. But until now, goodbye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.